Radio.
All right, so welcome to Infiltrate Radio. We're on episode 41, and I'm Patrick Joanne.
I'm Bizzle Chance.
And on the show today, we've got Will Nemi. Am I saying that right, Will?
You are, definitely. Yeah, that's good.
William or
Will's
Will?
fine.
Will's fine? All right.
Will. Yeah,
Will
good,
Nemi,
yeah.
Actor, writer, hair product aficionado. He enjoys his hair product and his and apparently his we talked a little bit about the drinks before the show, so why don't we get right into that part of it. Apparently a slush puppy aficionado as well. So
Biz was saying it's always like weird drinks and shit. So I was like, what's an obscure drink that like people don't? And I got a slush puppy, dude.
Where'd you get it from?
At this bowling alley in town.
So you drove all the way to a bowling alley?
Yeah, I literally, like a half hour ago, I literally drove to a bowling alley just to get this because I wanted some weird ass drink.
How did you know that they had the slush puppy? Have you been to that bowling alley?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about my bowling status. Dude, COVID's rough. There's nothing else to do. You gotta do something.
I'm surprised. Was the whole bowling alley open, or is just the slush puppy machine?
No, it was. But I literally, maybe I was there the other day and asked. I was like, "Yo, are you gonna be open at like 6 to have the slush puppies going?"
Right.
No, I'm asking for a friend here. But
excellent. All right.
No, me and Biz talked about it too, and my favorite color is blue raspberry. I think, I think that should be everybody's favorite color, honestly, blue. But I had to go with something lighter because I figured blue would be all over this shit, and I really do want to drink it.
Right. Well, we usually post the video like later, so you got a little bit of a chance to just go audio anyway. First,
sweet.
Your first go. But Biz, what do you got over there?
I decided to go with Bavaria. Same shit from last week, but it's a different flavor, a much more delicious flavor, the pomegranate flavor.
Huh.
It is incredibly quick and easy. What's up?
It looks like a beer bottle, but it isn't.
Yeah, that's the idea, I guess, behind it. And then I also got some Arctic Berry, the winter edition Red Bull.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the Bavaria, that's supposed to be like a non-alcoholic, almost like a non-alcoholic beer or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's like, it says that it's a alcohol-free malt beverage.
Wow, that's fucking random, dude.
All right, well, I got something a little bit local here. So I've got Southern Tiers, Lakeshore Fog, Hazy and Juicy IPA. I don't know if I'll be able to link directly to this because I think this was left at my house by a friend of mine, but I don't know if these are seasonal or not. I don't normally drink beer.
Hazy and Juicy. Is that your
it sounds sketchy.
That's what they used to call me.
That.
Yeah, they called me that in high school. And I also,
back in my day,
I opened this up too, which is what is it? Two Hearted Ale. It's got a picture of a bass on the front of it.
You're double fisting.
An IPA too. Well, I know I'm going to have two.
Meanwhile, slush puppy.
I know I'm going to have two, so I opened them both, so we don't get the sound of me opening beer.
Yeah, for sure.
On the show. And then one other thing, I just because I'm getting into the season here, I got some
a condom. Oh no, it's chocolate.
Peppermint bark. Chocolate squares too, so I'll link to all that stuff in there.
Those are good. Yeah, those are actually bomb. I like that when they like Christmas time, that chocolate peppermint and stuff. Yeah,
it's like an exotic chocolate too. It's like a very rich blend.
My girlfriend's obsessed with them, so she told me that we need to buy them out every store.
Like the Cadbury egg,
Christmas.
I'd only see it at Easter time.
Yeah, yep. If you have the right sources, you can get that sort of stuff any time of the year. You just let me know if you need me to hook it up. Will,
you guys remember Dunkaroos?
I do remember.
Like, can we still order those? I was talking about.
You absolutely.
I was talking about drinks. I really wanted High C Ecto Cooler. Like, I was like, could I order that in time? But the slush puppy has this is like a story. Like, I remember drinking these back when I was a kid, like Skateland. I don't know. I'm from Lockport. There's like a skating rink with Lasertron and like putt and shit. And like, that's where everybody used to go when you're like in middle school and shit. And you have like overnight skates, and they have like every slush puppies, and kids are just getting high up on sugar.
Yeah.
and fucking. And then they had like the epic slow dances or the slow skates where you get your partner, and
Yeah.
it was like the pinnacle, like, oh my god, I'm gonna skate with a girl,
Right.
and shit like that, and it'd be like Always Be My Baby by like Mariah Carey or something, or Savage Garden, and you're like skating it in sync, like This I Promise You, and you're like, oh, this is it, I've made it.
Well, you and I have grown up in very different parts of the world.
Yeah. I was a good kid at some point in life.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, it's like this.
Yeah, but they had. So what you're saying is they had slush puppies there.
They had slush puppies there.
got
And
you
tons
addicted
of
to it.
like all the flavors, and you'd get wild and like, dude, we're staying here overnight. I'm gonna get every flavor and just pounding the flavors in, and then you're just like having like a sugar coma.
Do you know the spray that they spray not only in bowling alleys but in skating rinks too back in the day into the skates? You know that antiseptic spray. Do you think that's COVID approved? Could we get away with just spraying ourselves with that stuff?
No way. That's
Like just spray yourself down. That probably gave you COVID, honestly.
The shoes
like
is that?
It freaking, that's its origin story. It's not about like a bat.
Yeah, patient
like
zero is in the bowling alley shoes.
Yeah, requesting songs and shit to skate to.
So let's get into kind of what you've been up to. So you're an actor and a writer, and I'm supposing that during this time there's been some slowdown in the amount of projects that are going on, and the like. So where are you located? Where are you based out of?
I'm actually chilling out in Albion right now. Basically,
Albion, New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there's nothing fucking here. It's like one road, but it's a good place to like I guess like self-care, like during this corona shit, kind of just like, work on your shit, work on yourself, like, it's a good place for like writing and shit. Like I read music and write like, shorts and sketches and all that shit, and just kind of like, I mean, it's all right, no distractions, which I guess is good.
All right, so have you been there for the entire COVID, like the whole lockdown?
No, I was in Greece before that, but it just wasn't working out. I had to get out of there, and then I figured, like, where am I gonna go? And I'm from Lockport, but Lockport is awful. Like, it is terrible. Like, don't go there ever. Like, when I was a kid, it was fine. Like, it was great growing up, but now it's just like Niagara Falls.
So just so you know, Will, too, there are people listening outside of the United States and outside of New York. So just mention that these places are New York. So he's mentioning Greece, but not.
This is everywhere.
Not the country,
no, this is not Greece country. That would be sick. I probably wouldn't have left. I'm Greek too, so I probably wouldn't have left there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is all New York, which also I need to get out of because New York sucks too, just in general.
Yeah. Where are you looking to go? I mean, obviously the acting thing leads me to believe probably LA or something like that, right?
Yeah, basically. I mean, Atlanta's like another one, a lot of TV shows and stuff, but I'm totally like a beach guy. Like, as long as LA is not on fire and Corona ends, like, I'm that's where I want to go. That's where I've always wanted to go, and it just, this or that, it's happened. Life gets in the way.
You never know.
Obviously,
with LA,
COVID.
It could very well be on fire next week, and
it might be on fire right now.
Will says COVID, like COVID was the reason that he's not
Completely
in LA right now. Like,
it's COVID. It's everything. It's COVID related. Dude, COVID screwed my shit up, man. COVID.
Tell me about it. We're in the same field. I know, bro. I know.
So what happened? Were you in the middle of a project or something when everything shut down? Or
I was in the middle of a lot of stuff. Honestly, I thought 2020 I was gonna blow up, but honestly, 2020 the world blew up, so it didn't really. It was the wrong way. But I had all these projects listed for like the summertime. I had plans. I had. I was going to like concerts and shows like in Boston and Pittsburgh and Lewiston, New York, like Boston, Massachusetts, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for those people that aren't here. And no, I had at least like 7 projects already going to be shooting. Biz was a part of one, probably a couple of them.
Right.
And yeah, like, and that was before like movies were still coming in, and I might be hopping on those too, you know. So I really thought 2020 I was really going to start like put a foot in and make a name. So I had like a little leverage before I went out to LA, and it was just like
all dried up,
gone.
right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
well,
and
some people have kind of taken to the lockdown in different ways. Some people kind of have taken the approach that like, oh, this is a lot of time to now work on stuff and projects at home, or you know, be able to shift or pivot in the way that you're doing the creative stuff. And then some people have just taken it as, I'm gonna just take a break for a while. Did you find yourself like, and the reason I say this is I'm a musician too, so like in the beginning I definitely felt a bit of uninspired, just from the same
yeah.
routine, being in the house every single day for, you know, the
Mhm.
first couple of weeks were rough, and then I almost said sharded, I started shifting.
Sharded, and it
Yeah,
was over.
I am. I pivoted like the way I was approaching it, and I started working on some of the older songs that I had some recordings to, and finished an album, and now almost done with the second one. But did you find yourself like uninspired in the beginning? Were you like, "Oh, this is great that I have all this time," or was it?
100%. I feel like I don't know. COVID's been rough for a lot of people, especially like people like mental health and addiction and shit. And I think, you know, if you're like an extroverted person like me, you really struggled versus like the introverted people. Like, I'm just gonna stay home and read a book anyways, so
Right.
this is great, you know. But me, I'm like feel like I'm getting boxed in, and honestly, I did not handle it well. It was I was uninspired. There's like that lack of motivation and shit. And I felt like, I mean, my mental health was definitely deteriorating, and I started drinking a lot,
Mm.
which sucks.
I think
But also
a lot of
a
people.
lot, yeah, I know a lot of people like, I mean, drugs too, not me, but drugs and drinking and trying to cope and shit. It was like that, like escapism. But for me, um, it was like the match that struck the whatever the saying is.
Mhm.
It was really all this like stuff back. Like I was diagnosed with trauma and PTSD, and I didn't really ever look at that or take care of that. Like really deep seated shit, and it was kind of with, you know, Corona and the past. It kind of started bleeding over. Like I just couldn't get a grasp on it and get it and take it care of. So honestly, that's a big part of what I've been doing over the break. I mean, seriously, there's so much, I don't know, like pain and shit, and like
So
me.
Will, you sent me this the fact that you wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to ask you specifically with like the talks of everything potentially re-shutting down and everything like that.
Mhm.
What what do you think that's going to do for someone like yourself that struggles and is an extrovert? And B, like what kind of precautions are you taking to kind of anticipate the fact that like the second wave of corona, especially where we
Mhm.
are, you know, we're shifting into like yellow
Yeah,
and
yeah.
orange zones and everything. Like what do you anticipate the second wave of potentially going back into a quarantine would look like
Well,
for you?
now I mean, I got a better handle on shit. Like, you know, it's better mindset. Honestly, like the past few months, I've been working with like a trauma therapist, you know, counseling and shit like that.
That's
Because
good.
this is stuff that has been going on like for like 20 years of my life. Like I should have took care of 15 years ago, and it just didn't happen. And like for the longest time, you have like you got these expectations, and my self-confidence was always kind of bullshit. It was like because I had low self-esteem, but no one ever saw that. And I remember Biz saying to me, it's like the tortured eyes, you could see it, like the pain in my eyes. And I think about people like Robin Williams, where I was raised to kind of just put a smile on, and it's all about perception, and it's all about saving face and shit. And like I didn't have like that emotional connections and shit that I needed to be able to process things. And the other side, you know, with the trauma, like I have survivor's guilt and shit like that, like because my brother died, and like you know, there's addiction on my mom's side of the family, and it's like abandonment, and it's just like all these things kind of just build on each other, and you got to be able to look at it and cope with them, and you know, go through them in a healthy way to finally let them go. And that's what I've been doing, and it's like fucking so freeing, dude. It's
so it kind of put you in a place where you had to kind of sit alone with yourself and
yeah, and I think about, oh shit, Corona, it was terrible, it's the worst, but honestly, it's like a silver lining. It's like a blessing, because even without that, and I kept going, this would have happened sooner or later. You know what I mean? Like, I would have had to address all this stuff that I did, and I think it's just, you know, like all the shit, ADHD and then my anxiety, and it all plays on each other, and it's finally I'm finally getting over it, which is really, seriously, I like probably haven't felt this good about myself in 15 years. And health-wise, probably 5 years. You know, you take, like, I really find value now, and I feel like taking care of yourself is important. And before I was like, oh, why does it matter? I'm a disappointment. No one loves me. Like that kind of shit. So no, it's been,
you'd be surprised how prevalent that feeling is amongst people, especially younger guys too. It's
yeah, and I feel like, you know, there's no shame in reaching out and getting help. Like, I went and shit, I don't care. Like, going to therapy or like having a counselor, that's good for anybody just talking to a unbiased, you know, no one has stake in the game, just to get your shit out is
how did you go about finding, so I know people probably the first time they go and they try and find a therapist or a psychologist or someone to kind of help them with that. What did you do?
I went in
a recommendation.
No, I actually went to there's a hospital, Mount St. Mary's Hospital. It's in Lewiston, New York, and I went there, and I was in there for a few weeks while they diagnosed me with the trauma and PTSD, which I never knew I had. I just figured I was like depressed and anxious, and like 3 different therapists were like, oh yeah, you're fucked up, but they didn't say it like that. And I was like, yo, that's crazy.
That's not the scientific nomenclature for
yeah, there's like, is that a professional term to use
on your chart?
So,
that's
yeah,
fucked up.
As well as the, you know, and it really, like, I wouldn't say I definitely had a drinker problem. I definitely did. I couldn't deal with it, but honestly, it's like 3% of the problem. That's like the solution to the problem. Like, what's the real problem is going on with me, and that's the escapism. And after doing all that, I don't give a shit. I don't drink anymore. Just don't do it. It's been like 3 months since I had a drink, and like, I was like, I want to be like Biz. He don't drink.
Well, he drinks that Bavaria stuff. I don't know what the hell that is.
Right.
And
Some Holland malt.
It's seriously not. Yeah, that's so gross. Like, if you're gonna drink, you might as well just drink. But no, it's not. It was all this shit that I never dealt with, and like, once I started taking layers off, I felt like it doesn't matter. And I look at people like Robert Downey Jr. and shit, you know, who is successful, but they've had problems, you know, in the past and shit like that. And, you know, Robin Williams. And it's like, it was an opportunity to take care of my stuff so I can finally move forward and, like, you know, show emotions and shit. Like, today I was watching Deadpool 2, and I've seen it like 3 times, but I was crying.
What's funny, I was
crying during Deadpool.
I just watched that movie like last week. Again.
Yeah, I've never cried before. Now I'm crying at the end when he has to leave his girl and shit.
Spoiler
alert, bro. Come on, you're working movie.
Come on.
Well,
if you haven't seen Deadpool 2 yet, you know, Bruce Willis was a ghost the whole time. Deal with it, people.
Listen, Will.
Second spoiler.
Will, you and I both know that it wasn't until last summer that I saw even one Marvel movie for the first time.
Yeah, that's so disappointing. I don't even know why I talked to you.
I'm not that into them either, Biz. So, like, my friends...
I'm super into them now that I've seen them.
My friend Dave likes it, so I always... If he goes to a movie, I'll go. I'm like, yeah, I'll go to it. It's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Dude, they're so good. The storyline, the whole lore behind it, it's amazing.
What got you into, like, acting, Will? Like, was it...
Oh, my God. This story's crazy. Okay. Everybody's got to have a good origin story, right?
Sure.
So this guy asked me if I would be in the play. Story.
And then I did it. Done. Trials and tribulations.
Wait. No, I'm gonna have a relevant joke based upon the previous conversation. So did an old balding man in a wheelchair come up to you as a baby
He did.
and said, "You have something special about you, and we need to take you to this school and teach you acting."
He was also eating an apple off a knife. And I was like, oh, shit, I got to believe what this guy's saying.
Sorry. All right, go ahead.
No, okay, so I was raised Catholic, which also they're terrible, so I'm not anymore, because they're, like, the worst. But, so every year they had, like, the nativity story, if you know, just, like, the story of Jesus. Jesus was that guy that...
Oh, will you stop? Good Lord.
But yeah, so every year they did like the nativity story, you know, and like every year I got a part. I was like the angel Gabriel, and I was like an innkeeper, and then I finally was Joseph. And every year, this is all I look forward to. I was like 11 maybe or 12, and I played sports my whole life. Honestly, I was like pushed into sports so hard, and I like sports, but like this was what I wanted to do. So I asked my parents if I could go to acting school, 11 and 12, and I'm like, no, shut up. And that was
wait, 1 second. Can I ask you, were you about 11 or 12 in that picture you posted on your Instagram?
Maybe.
All right, so
that was 7th grade, man. That was 7th grade.
Just so our viewers could see, this was.
Oh, you motherfucker. Okay, so look, I had to glow up, man. Like I long bottomed hard, dude.
Yeah.
I had such big features. My ears were too big. My lips were too big. Everything was bigger, and my head had to grow into it. But the hair color was from that Disney show, HE Double Hockey Sticks. It was a Disney movie. And Will Friedle was in it from Boy Meets World, and he got his hair done like that color. And my mom was a hairstylist, so I was like, Mom, I want to do that. Of course, it was an awful idea, but I was 12. Do a lot of things. You know, I wasn't smoking crack or anything.
So what was your first, what was your first project, like your actual first film?
Okay, so yeah, so I went to play sports, and, you know, I went going to Niagara CC for school, and I was a sports management major. I played baseball in college, and like I went to Disney actually and did a college program. And when I came back, I didn't play baseball because I missed the one semester. But my buddy, he was in a play, West Side Story, at the Palace Theater in Lockport, and it's such a big cast. And we're out at a bar. I was like 19. We're out at this bar drinking, and he was like, guys, you should be in it. You know, it's not a lot of work, a couple days a week. You get to do fight choreography and shit. Not me and my buddy were like, shit, I'll do it if you do it. Obviously, he lied. He totally bullshitted because it was like 6 hours a day, like dancing, fucking singing. It was like everything, but it ignited like that passion of what I used to do. And like my part kept getting bigger and bigger through it. Like, you know, like they kept giving me more and more. And then like the leads were like, oh, you're really good. And I was like, I don't know, I'm fucking around. I don't know. But I loved it. So the next semester I went back to school, and I was still a sports management major, but I took an acting for non-majors class as an elective. And my teacher was a director of the one show, and they only had 2 shows a semester, and it's like 10 roles altogether. And all the theater department kids, they have to audition for it, and it's like 50 something whatever kids. And then me, sports management major, the director was like, hey, you should audition. And I got a lead role, and every semester from then I fucking was one of the, you know, was in every show. These people are like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm like, sports, yeah. You know, but, and they're
did you actually do that? Did you come sports? Yeah.
I was like, yes, sports. I'm a crossbreed, muggle or half-blood or whatever. Like,
he almost called himself a lot of other things.
Yeah, I'm a tool. That was definitely a tool. But it was funny because when I started it, I liked doing it, but it was Kit Harington from like Game of Thrones. He talked about when he first got into acting, and he said it was like, of course he's not American because he's talking about chasing skirt and shit. And like that idea was kind of, instead like doing West Side Story, you know, like if you're straight, you don't have to be pretty, honestly. Like all the girls. So I was like, oh shit, I want this forever. But like what he said after he started getting into it, it wasn't about that anymore. He actually found the love, which I did too. Like it kind of, like I said, reignited that thing. And dude, I just wanted to act. And there's a couple parts, things where I knew I could do it. One, when I was in 3rd grade, we were doing the prodigal son story at church, and there's supposed to be this mechanical pig that came on stage, you know, and it's 3rd grade. So you're like 8, 9 years old, whatever. And it didn't work. It broke or something. So it didn't come on, and I'm on stage, and other kids might've panicked or cried and shit. But like, I just moved on to the next scene. No one told me to do that. No one did it. And I just did it. And I felt like shit then. And then I've always done comedy and stuff. Like, that was always natural for me. But I remember doing this scene at Trip, and it was dramatic, and there was people crying. And I felt like that was so much more rewarding to be able to get that emotion. And I was like, shit, I can actually do this shit, I think. And I don't know. And like, when I saw Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight, that stuck with me hard. I was like, holy fuck, like, that's goals right there. And ever since then, I think, you know, it's weird though, because I had a director one time, and he told me the comedy versus drama, like, what's harder? And actually, he says comedy was harder, which I was like, dude, just for me, it came easy. But he put it like this. He said, not everybody finds things funny, the same thing funny. But a dead puppy is sad no matter what. That's the way he put it. So it's like drama. Things are sad because they're fucking sad. And comedy, you know, some people like dark comedy, some people like sketch comedy, you know, physical comedy, and what's the one, you know, droll comedy, like all different kinds of things. But
I'll argue against that, because sometimes a dead puppy can be funny too.
No, that's terrible.
Yes, it can.
You only think that because you have a puppy.
No. It absolutely can, depending on how it's done, right? Same thing goes for, like, I don't think that drama necessarily is that straightforward or
no, not at all.
something sad. Like, have you watched the what's the name of it? The not The Marriage. Is that what it's called? The Marriage or whatever?
Marriage Story.
Marriage Story. That's the
Marriage Story.
Yeah, that was
Are you serious? That's what it is.
Adam Driver is literally probably one of the best actors of our time.
Scarlett Joe, right? Scarlett Joe and Adam. I never saw it. I never watched it.
And
oh my god, dude.
There's parts of that that's so nuanced. You know what I mean? There's sadness in, like,
what's
if you're
happening.
like in the intricacies of a normal everyday thing that's happening. So, and I think that's what great, like, storytelling and great, you know, great actors and you know, even musicians and artists and whatever are able to do. They're able to introduce, like, this complexity, this seemingly simple idea, but have all this emotion behind it. I'm sorry, Biz, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, Will, you probably should watch it, but watch it with caution because of, you know, the topic that it's about and everything. But it is some groundbreaking stuff when it comes to acting. Adam Driver is, like, next level in that.
Yeah, no, I love him too. He's fantastic. And you know, that's funny because I was told to do, it's almost like a character. This Is Us, right? Have you ever watched that show?
Oh, yeah.
I've never got into it. I didn't. But one of the characters is like an actor. And he deals with this stuff, like, you know, when he was younger and his dad's like trying to make him play football and shit, and he didn't want to, but he does it, and that kind of stuff. And my one counselor was like, yo, you should watch this as like a character study, because you have a lot of similarities between this character being portrayed, and I think it'd be, you know, it's just a good thing to do. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, why not? So, but I got to watch Marriage Story now too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fucking cry probably, because
Marriage Story is rough, especially because I know you, and based on, you know, your background and everything, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But
yeah, that's okay.
If you could watch it objectively,
I'm not done yet, man.
If you could watch it objectively,
baby.
it's not so bad, and like I said, it's really good.
Just to get even deeper into it, so another thing that's interesting, so like Office Space, right? You know the movie Office Space?
Oh, I love Office Space.
No, I've never heard of it.
My stapler.
Yeah, so him, right? That his character in particular, it's this mundane thing, and he doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but there's this, like, you empathize with him to a certain degree if you've ever worked in any kind of office, right? There's this
Mhm.
like
There's always that guy
day
somehow.
Matt?
like beating down of your soul that can happen in those type of environments. And even though it's comedic, the movie itself, there's like this tragedy behind his
No, it's
characters
sad.
that's
Yeah.
sad too, you know.
It is. It is.
So, what in terms of like film projects recently, what have you have anything you want to talk
Yeah,
about?
no. Actually, I'm actually happy because, like, dude, it was like dry for so long. Like, and that's when I kind of just did some writing and stuff. And but I finally hearing things about projects like picking up at least and like moving forward. You know, a lot of people I've heard a lot of it's like early spring, but like
Yeah.
one of them is like Turn Up the Night, which Biz is in too. You know, they took a hiatus obviously, but the project is still much alive and ramping up.
Let me
a
just
lot of
pin
this
you. Let me just pin you for a second and update the readers. Turn Up the Night's a story about a fictional '80s hair metal band that comes to like super success, stardom, just to kind of watch it all crash and burn. It's supposed to come out, I think, sometime next year. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah,
As you
no,
are.
I'm very excited, and a lot of it's a music base. It's based off the band, and the music's got to be on point. So there is new music coming at the end of the year that, you know, we're really excited about because I really think it's going to set a precedent. And what I got excited about was the script and the story. It's so realistic, and Rick Massey, he's the writer and director. I mean, writer and producer, and he really he used to be in a band, and this shit kind of happened. Like some of the stuff with contracts and stuff in the movie pulled directly from his contracts in real life, which is crazy. And when I heard the song "The Only," it was like the first one. I mean, it was amazing. I literally thought like you could hear this on the radio. Like this would be an '80s song on the radio. So yeah, I was in, and I played the lead singer, played Kimmy Gaines, and he's he's a complicated character. I
Yeah,
think.
don't spoil this one, Will. If you would leave this
No,
one
he
Okay.
won't.
till
He
it comes out, but don't give away the ending.
He won't.
No, I
spoil any of
won't.
the movies.
He's
But
but it's very much like myself. When we were talking to Rick, I'm very like almost like in too close to the project because like I need to play this character. I need it. Like it's been like 2.5 years, and like I need to play him because I need it to be done. And I think him himself has a lot of similarities to me. Like he music was his thing and stuff, and he's very unsure about himself, but he's such a great talent, but still he gets like jealous of other people and stuff, and he's like control freak because he wants things to be perfect, but he honestly just wants people to love him and like accept him and care. But it's very mixed, you know, in it. He's really got that pain that you don't see, but
I
it's
think-
here.
I think most artists are gonna watch Turn Up the Night and relate, especially the way that you portray Kimmy in the scenes that I've been in with you, just because of
Oh,
the
thank
fact that it comes across very obviously that you want nothing but success for the band and everyone in the band, but at the same time, the second that any of them start to outshine you, you're quick to be
Mhm.
like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what the fuck do you think this is?
Yeah, you're
this is?
really
Like,
yeah, your ego, and it's like your self-confidence that you don't have. You know, and you like second guess yourself and stuff, and it's really he's like he doesn't want that to be taken because all he had was music,
right,
you
right.
know, growing up.
And the band becomes like, bigger than one, even bigger than the five of them, you know what I mean? And I think that
Yeah.
when you work on something that becomes bigger than any one person, it starts to become a little different, you know what I mean? Like different
Mhm.
components start to play factors into it, and it's portrayed very well in Turn Up the Night, I think.
Yeah, and like the relationships between like the band members and relationships between the other characters and just how everything flows. It's written just so well. It just flows so perfectly, honestly. But on Facebook, we're close to like 20,000 people following us on Facebook, which is pretty good. And you can go on the Facebook page, Turn Up the Night, and you can hear like previews see behind the scenes clips and all
Is-
that stuff.
Is it still filming, or is it in post, or what's the?
We got to film a lot, and I think Rick, what he said is mostly expecting everyone back, but also with COVID in the past year, it's too early to tell. So I'm not going to talk about like really cast or crew or anything. But the way he's doing right now is he's looking to ramp it up, and I think start shooting in June next year. Start like
I believe so.
get things together in March, kind of, and like get it together, like, you know, funding and stuff. I know.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the video that he sent to like the cast and crew and everything kind of explained that. I think that it would probably wrap up around August, and that he was planning on trying to have like many working parts as it goes on, so that the editing process after it's all said and done can be kind of a little bit faster than your typical film as well. So it sounds like he's still looking towards like an end of 2021 or a beginning of 2022 release from what I gathered.
I think it's a good, honestly, like the COVID thing, it was like a good opportunity to start over, because at the same time, now we can see what worked and didn't. And his plan that he's kind of outlined, it's just like he's going to do it the right way.
I would say, and it's funny you say that. I was going to say that, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people that don't know this, filmmaking is a challenging thing to do, and it's hard to get people to kind of agree to work with you when there's so many working parts. So this particular gentleman we're talking about, I hope to have him on the show in the very near future, but he more or less was like freelancing people. He was hiring people as we went, and there was like a level of inconsistency that came with hiring a new camera guy and a new sound guy and a new PA every time, you know, you get the crew together. And it faced a lot of challenges that it sounds like he has kind of come to terms with the fact that, like, you know, that's definitely a way that to make this not work. Let's make sure we move forward with this in a better way.
Yeah, for sure. And like, especially just like, with behind the camera stuff, like the editing and stuff, that alone, I mean, yeah, it's just like definitely reignited that. Like, again, like I'm on board. Like I'm ready. I'm in this until I'm dead. Like until
I think that's a big issue sometimes with musicians or any kind of creatives, like trying to create stuff. Because I find myself too. Like you're in a time crunch, you're in a money crunch, and so you want to rush to just have it be completed, and I think everyone being forced to be locked down forced everyone to be like, all right, let's sit down for a minute, including myself, with some projects, and you know, that ended up being beneficial. I don't know if that's always the case, but you know, with everyone. But I think that I really hope that this vaccine is coming out soon, so that all of this being just locked up, because I think there's so much creativity right now bubbling, like
and you have like no
wanting
outlets
to get out
to do it.
People want to get out and be doing things, and I think I almost am hopeful to what it looks like post this whole thing, because of the amount of energy people are going to go out there and create with.
I think people are just going to get, it's going to get wild, because everyone's like, you're going to let them off the leash, and everybody's going to be like, I'm doing it all.
Right. That's my hope. Either that, or we'll all be like, we can't get off our couches anymore because we've been so
I can't feel my legs. I have no legs now.
Like the that movie, what the heck was the name of it, with the little robot guy? Wally.
Wally?
Yeah. At the end of it, they're all just
Wally, like Willy.
Yeah. You haven't seen Wally? Come on, Disney.
No, of course I've seen Wally. I love Disney movies. Those ones hit hardest. Disney's dark. It's like, whose parent they're gonna kill off day one. And then
always the mom.
It's always someone like someone's dying.
You guys know the story behind that, right? That Walt Disney, when he started making money, he bought a house for his mom, or built a house for his mom, or whatever, and he did not service the furnace properly, and she died of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Huh. Well, that was a way to kill the movie.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah, of course that's the end of the story. It's Disney.
Nice.
So just to sidebar for a second.
And then they lived happily ever after.
Wait. The Turn Up the Night Facebook page. Hang on. Let's finish the Turn Up the Night thing for a moment. The Turn Up the Night Facebook page is facebook.com/TUTN movie. If you're looking to follow and kind of go along that journey with Will
I
and Rick.
totally knew that. I definitely knew
What? So
that.
the story though about Walt Disney's mom. How did that have anything to do with Wally?
What do you mean? Because he said in a Disney movie, someone always dies. I said, it's always the mom. And then he said, who's dying in the movie? I said, it's always the mom. Don't you know why? And then I
Oh,
explained.
I
like,
gotcha.
yeah, it's rough, man. Yeah, there's a lot of. Ugh.
All right. So anyway,
But,
Will, what other projects you got going on?
Yeah. I don't know. You guys are they're horrific evil monsters. It's an Adam.
I'm glad you brought that one up because you're like an action figure or something now because of this movie.
I
Right?
am. I don't have it right now, but
come on.
I am. It's Adam Steiger. It's kind of like it's a culmination of all his films. It's almost like a MonsterVerse, almost like an Avengers type thing. He's done different movies, like Star and Fang, and there's like a werewolf in one, an alien in one, a Grim Reaper. So the Horrific Evil Monsters is kind of the culmination of all of them teaming up and saving the world, which is like the last people you would think saved the world. It's like a zombie and an X-Action star and an alien and shit against like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And it's pretty wild. But that's actually done and shot. And it was supposed to premiere in October, but because of COVID, obviously around Halloween time, that's when he usually does it. Right now, I think it's being pushed. And he was hoping to do maybe March release because he wants to do that in theaters and red carpet. But he's also looking into exploring home release now too, which
Right.
I mean, even big studios have to do, which is crazy. But I literally just the last thing that the film needed, I just did. It was me doing my voiceovers and shit because I played I played the alien, Obi. But I got prosthetics on and all that shit. So it was, when you're mic'd up and stuff, it was kind of muffled. So I had to go in and kind of dub and go through and redo all the lines and voiceover stuff so we could get it.
Such easy work, Will. It's so easy.
It was fun. I honestly, it was like the first thing I'd done in like months. So I was like, yeah, I'll do voice. I'll do it all. So, but yeah, I play this alien, and he's like very matter of fact. He looks crazy. He's green. I mean, he looks like a shit show. But
imagine the old guy at your local supermarket if he had pointy ears, was green, and always wore an Argyle sweater. Is exactly what Obi looks like.
He definitely teaches community college. But he's very mad. He doesn't understand humor. So just matter of fact, very intelligent, which makes him funny because he's not trying to be funny. And then, I had a great time playing him. I mean, there's other actors like Bishop Stevens is in it. Gregory Blair, he's an actor out in California. Bishop Stevens used to be in the WCW. Jenny Russo, she's done projects for Adam before. I mean, it's got a great cast and really, it's got a really freaking cool look. And I think people are really going to really enjoy it and gravitate to it. I'm proud of what I did, at least. So, if anything,
You said
it looks good.
When is that going to come out?
Well, last time I talked to him, he does want to do. Is looking into the home release, but because it got pushed, he was thinking maybe March. But it's really depending on what's going to happen in the world, So it could be March. That's as best I know right now.
Yeah, I just had a show canceled for supposed to play this Friday, and the rescheduled dates are February of next year. I'm like, it's killing me too.
Dude, it's so bad, dude. It just like all fall apart, and just like all these projects were ones I'm supposed to work on, at least ramping up. There's probably another handful of projects that are just up in the air, and you just don't know if they might never happen now. The other project I'm going to do, I just talked to the producer, is Heartbreak Falls.
Okay, whoa. I got a public service announcement. If you're looking to follow the Horrific Evil Monsters, also known as them, on Facebook, it is facebook.com/the Horrific Evil Monsters. As you were.
I knew that one.
Biz is doing all your PR work over here.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I pay him for.
Biz, did that check come in the mail today?
Yeah, I was gonna say that check that I showed you before
I
we
paid for
started
the
was not
writer's
from this.
duet, bro.
Oh, fair. He paid $8 for himself to benefit.
Bitch, it's $8.99. We needed it.
So what do you think about? So obviously you were talking a little bit about the red carpet thing and the theater release and stuff. Do you think that theaters are gonna make it out of this? Because I heard they're already kind of on the verge of bankruptcy.
See, it's really sad too, because there's some of those like mom and pop theaters that are so cool because it's kind of got that retro feel, and I really think they're not gonna make it, which is it's kind of a travesty, honestly. But when you start hearing about like AMC struggling and like not making it, and like the Regal and shit, you're like, damn,
Right?
like it's bad. It's bad. I heard AMC. I mean, they're obviously doing like releasing stuff online, but what can you do? They're not making concessions. That's where you make a lot of your bank. I go to the movies and I pay like $70. I'm like, what the hell happened?
And the
That's
tickets.
because of the That's because of the concession stand, obviously.
Yeah, the ticket's like $3.
Yeah, I need candy.
So wait, the other film you were talking about, the one with Falls in the title, what's that called?
Oh, Heartbreak Falls. It's like a mob ensemble. The plot's centered around like a high-profile business deal involves the mob. It's written, directed, and produced by John Michael Nolan and his team of producers. But I just talked to him recently, and he says, they're thinking they're going to go full production in February. It should be wrapped through spring months up until like June. So like February to June, if everything goes right, that's, I think I'm on set in March sometime. And my character, like I said, he doesn't want to give too many details away, but it is like really a mob ensemble. Like I'm like a mysterious character, kind of extension of the mob. One of those like hired hands that are going in and doing the dirty work that they don't want to fucking do. Which sounds great. It sounds really fun. And I look like I could be in the mob, totally Italian. So they're probably going to do that up. They'll slick my hair back, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm in the mob.
Is that your mob voice? You gotta work. You gotta work.
Yeah, I'm working. It still needs work.
You gotta work.
Well, I saw that on IMDb you listed
Tony Danza. I'm thinking like, Angela.
Well, I saw that it is listed on IMDb that you're playing Kid, so it's probably
kid number 2.
It's probably.
And I
part
even
of that
asked him about it. Like, I'm like, why isn't their names? Because these characters are actually like decent sized characters, and he's like, he wanted it like that ambiguous, like, you don't know these people. He literally named them Kid 1 and Kid 2 on purpose. So it's not going to be like bar patron number 3 or anything. Like it's
right.
literally...
Like, can you imagine when Javier Bodeman and Jennifer Lawrence read the script for Mother, and their names were him and her? It was probably like, what kind of small ass role do you think I'm playing here?
Right. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sitting in a like extra background, like outside a window, like dying window. But no, it was like, I was like, kid number 2. He's like, he's not supposed to have a name because you don't know who they are.
Right.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I can buy that. You might be lying, but whatever.
Have you ever found yourself in a weird situation when you're on a film set somewhere? Like
every
time, every single time.
I usually make it weird though. That's the whole point.
wait, before we lose sight of it, if you're looking to follow the journey for Heartbreak Falls, that is facebook.com/Heartbreak Falls Film.
Was that Lauren in the background?
No, of course not.
That's another black cat. Your black cats that constantly pass by during the podcast.
Thank you for shooting these out. Like I totally.
Of course. We still got to do yours. We still have to do yours, but we'll do it at the end. I'll make sure to tell you to do your Instagram, your Facebook, and your IMDb. Yeah.
What's the weirdest situation you found yourself in on a set? Or so like I'll give you an example. I've done a couple of film things, and I found myself in the middle of like November in Rochester in upstate New York. It's drizzling and sleeting out, and I'm acting with another guy, and then there's the film crew obviously, and then there's a female actress that's playing a ghost in a white dress, and she's standing out in 30-degree weather. We're inside of the car, me and the other guy actor, she's covered in fake blood, and it's raining.
So that's cold in
She's out there
itself.
just shivering or whatever, and we've got the heat blasting inside the car, staring at her because the scene is
Like, sorry.
we're staring at her, and the whole time I just felt so bad because she's out there, and then occasionally, like in
Yeah.
between shots, she'd jump in the car and get in front of the heater. So
Patrick,
like, what?
did you work on that back in like 2013 or 14?
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh my God, I think you showed me a clip for this when we first met. I think you
Yes.
showed me this because it was right around
It's-
that time.
Yeah, that's funny too, because like on Halloween Inferno Part 2, done by the Coleman brothers,
Ooh.
I was in a cop car because I was playing a sheriff, and I was all bundled up, like I had a uniform, coat on. But there's this girl that keeps having to run up to the car, and she's not wearing much. She's covered in blood, and it was a cold night. And I was like, get in. Like, you're supposed to say that, but I was like, I'm so sorry. I just sit in here. I'm good. Like, but what other weird things? There's always some kind of weird stuff going on set. There was one where, oh man, I was on the set, and there's like a shirt that I had to get, and it was like bloody, but they had multiple shirts because they're not filming chronologically, so they had to flip them out, like once the hole's in it, once it's not.
Yeah.
So we send this, PA or whatever. It was like, okay, we need the other shirt, go. So he goes off because we're trying to, get hurry. He comes back, not even the same shirt. It's a random color, different color shirt. And we're like, whose shirt is this? Where did we get this shirt? Like, yeah, this is it's literally, we wanted the same shirt. It's hanging up back there, and he comes with some gray shirt. He stole someone's shirt. It wasn't mine. And we're like, it was this one, man. Like, and then there's another time where, like, they were shooting a scene, and there was, like, a dude just standing in the background, like, drinking a Coke. Like, in the scene, someone's like dying, and he's like standing off to the side, just like watching, drinking a Coke. He's like, get the fuck out of the way, man.
There was some.
So,
was it a Star Wars movie? I think it was a Star Wars movie where there was someone had accidentally left
Mandalorian, it just happened.
they left
Yeah,
like a
there was one.
Starbucks cup or
No,
something.
that was Game of Thrones.
That's
There
Game
was
of
one
Thrones.
there was
Oh,
one that just happened with Mandalorian, where one of the crewmen you can see standing just
He's
outside
got like a
of
watch and jeans on.
really takes you out of the moment.
I posted something. It was like a fake action figure of the guy, the jeans guy. It was like
Nice.
for the Mandalorian. Yeah.
Nice.
But I don't know. I enjoy being on set. I feel like I'm most in my element then. Like, I'm most comfortable on set. And I know how to have a good time and make people feel comfortable. At the same time, I'm serious about the work too. So like, we can have fun and joke, but like when it comes down to it, like I'm there, like,
This is work.
I
Yeah.
take it very seriously at the same time. So it's kind of good. I think that's the best dynamic to have.
Well, I was on a film set for a film called Drunk Bus back over a year ago now, and
Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson. No,
Was he in Drunk Bus?
No, he was not. But that would have been a good person to have in it.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'll tell you about the cast after the show because I'm not trying to plug
Okay.
this show or this movie again. But
Never again.
we when we got there, the AD comes out and he's like, "Listen, everyone, this is a party scene. We want you to be having a good time, but you have to understand something. Everyone that's not in the scene is at work. This is our office right now. So when we yell cut, we all get to work until we yell action again, which means we need
Right.
quiet. We need you guys to shut up. We need you to understand that if your volume comes up, we're gonna tell you to shut up, and we're gonna not be nice about it because we're trying to get something done. It's the middle of the night.
It's
And
not a
we have a lot
playground.
to fit, right? Like, and safety is a big priority. And when noise levels get loud, and when things are there's like 40 people in a house imitating a frat party, like when all that's going on, safety is a big priority. So it's a different dynamic that people outside the film world don't really know. These extras come in and they're like, why would he talk to me that way? Like, dude, because it's his castle that he's built, and he's got to make sure that there's order in there while he's getting it done. Like,
I really respect like crew members like way more, especially like the technical stuff. but also like the PAs and shit, because they like their jobs like are so important, like wrangling all these people, having to do that, keeping them quiet, and people are just like, ah, fuck this, I'm on set, ha ha ha, and you're like, shut up, man, you know, like,
Right.
but they're in charge of these people, and it's like that's a freaking task in itself. And then obviously like the crew members that are shooting, I can turn on a camera maybe, so I'm like, because I have no idea how to do any of that shit.
Yeah,
So yeah, crew is amazing.
I think it's important too when you learn to do something. Who were we speaking with? We were speaking with Dave Williams the other day, where he was talking about knowing every aspect of his business, right? Like coming in as the sales guy and then learning all the individual components of the business until, you know, he's finally basically the CEO of this corporation. I think you're muted there, Biz. If you were talking to us, I saw your lips move, but unless you're talking to your daughter or something or someone else.
Right. You're good.
But you know, learning the other stuff, even if you're not an expert in it, you know, the camera, like how to use a camera, how to use the audio equipment, what slating is, all that kind of stuff when you're either on a film set or you're recording music or whatever the thing is, like learning a little bit about what the jobs are that are behind the scenes when you're even the actor or the talent. You know, you're on stage, knowing the technicalities of what's going on, you know, backstage or in the production booth or whatever. I think is important to being able to put out a product that's good. Have you ever worked as a PA or like on set as a crew before?
No.
Not officially. Not officially.
I no, even like seriously, even crew, like theater crew. I mean, these people, like the scene changes and shit, like you run off stage and they have like a wardrobe for you and they're like dressing you and stuff. And then like in between dark, they're like rolling shit out and bringing shit back like that. I mean, it's incredible. And I've never had to really do it. I mean, as an actor, you kind of help a little bit, you know, if like you have to gear up your prop or something, or, you know, you got to be ready. But I just give it to them because I mean, just on the even big sets, like, Diary Lunatic and the Purge movie, and like these PAs having to like, I mean, they're always moving. They're always having to go grab somebody or do this and fly them in and take them out and grab this prop and do this wardrobe. And
so yeah, Will doesn't double dip like I do.
Yeah, I have a good
Sorry.
example of a PA doing something really good for in terms of the talent. So back in the day, I was how old was I?
Back in the day,
I was maybe.
This could be like 2 days ago or
I was
7 years ago.
I have two stories. If you guys can
yeah, no, I'm down.
2 stories. So
go ahead.
One, I think I was maybe 18 or 19 at the time, and I was living still in New York City, and I did like little acting gigs here or there. And there was this one I got picked up for. It was a PSA for schools. It was going to be aired in like high schools, and it was going to be like an anti-drinking, you know.
Oh, dude! It was like I remember those
thing, right?
There was like assemblies. Yeah.
Yep. So they would, they'd probably show this at one of those assemblies or whatever, right? So the whole thing is, it's this party, and there's all these teenagers at this party. They have this, cooler, and one of the kids just happens to pull out, we got beer or whatever. But they weren't allowed to, let the actors obviously drink while they were being filmed, and the lead actors. I was an extra in the background, so I was just part of the party in the background, right? But in order to make the props look real, they bought actual beers, a couple of 6-packs, and then dumped out, a few of the cans, filled it with something else, so that when the actors were drinking, it was like iced tea or whatever, right? They didn't empty out all the beers, okay? And I believe that I had insisted that I go buy the beers for them, and back then I'm almost 40, Biz. You see how I just worked that in?
Good Lord.
I am 40, that's right. But back in the day, they didn't ID people as much, so I got to go get that beer for you, even though I'm an extra. I'm going to be a kind of a makeshift PA. It's small set PSA.
I'm stepping up.
It's a service to you that I'm doing this.
I of course bought 2 6-packs, and they maybe used 3 beers out of those 2 6-packs, and the rest were in the cooler on ice for in between shots and all that stuff, so that when they filmed inside of it. So during the in between shots, I would be actually drinking underage on the set the beers
See?
that had been
So
purchased by the
you're
PA.
kind of like helping, but you had ulterior motives.
Right. So what I'm doing is I'm suggesting that me as a PA was great to me as the talent by buying myself beers, ice cold beers that I could drink while on set. Biz. This is what I was saying.
Terrible.
But then secondly,
Oh.
yeah, this is the second story. It's not as bad, but it is again me going against the rules on a set.
This one I do crystal meth.
Right. No. So I was again I got picked up. So in New York City, a lot of times you're just on the street, and if you have a particular look, people will be like, "Hey, do you want to be an extra in whatever is going on at the moment?" So I was in Times Square waiting for a friend of mine, Jonathan Chodas, who was the guest last week, waiting for him to show up in Times Square, sitting down. And all of a sudden, a guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you wanna be an extra in a music video?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And I'm like, this isn't like a weird thing because Times Square back then was a little bit shadier, like not as bad as it was like in the 80s,
Right.
but like it's still like not. Yeah, someone coming up, hey, you want to be an extra in anything? Is like, yeah, show me some sort of ID or something. But as it turns out, it was a Rolling Stones video, so it was in the subway. And Mick Jagger was the only one that was there. It wasn't the entire Rolling Stones, but it's him, and he's like doing his Mick Jagger weird body movements throughout the train. And then there was all these extras that were like, the extras on the train, homeless.
Yeah, that Jagger.
Sleeping there and whatever. And I was in the background, and they made it very clear when we got down, because they got all the extras down into the train station. And it was this like 2-car version of the subway that would just go back and forth because it had to be moving. But they made it very clear when they got down. They said, no matter what you do, when you get down there and Mick Jagger shows up, no one is allowed to talk to him or or have any conversation or whatever. And I was a musician at the time, right? So I had a show coming up that weekend. So I'm like,
You're like, oh,
that's all right.
You gotta.
So, yeah. So, we filmed. I didn't interrupt any of the filming or anything, but there was a certain point where something happened.
Your moment.
Yeah, where the train was having issues, like going back and forth. And Mick Jagger was just kind of standing over there alone, maybe like 5 feet away from me. And I'm standing there, and I had flyers like in my coat or whatever for my show. So I walked over to him. I'm like, hey.
That still happened.
I'm like, hey, I'm playing a show. I know you're in town now. So like, if you're here still on Friday, I'm playing my show. Here's a flyer to the show. And he looked, people talk about Keith Richard, how old he looks, but Mick Jagger looked fucking old as shit. And that was like in the 90s,
dude.
like 98.
They eat like baby hearts or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. But no offense to Mick Jagger, but like he looked pretty old. But anyway, he has I don't know if that's just a costume jacket that he had or that was his actual, sport coat. But in one of his sport coats is a flyer to one of my shows back in 98 that he slipped. He's like, oh, no problem, mate. I'll come out. I didn't expect him to actually show up.
That's amazing, though. That's a lot. That's a better freaking reaction than some people.
Yeah, he was actually very nice about it. He wasn't like, what the fuck?
Patrick, come on. I thought you were going to be like, so I pulled one out of my back pocket and let the rest of them spill out onto the floor to see if you.
And you're like,
hey, mate, you dropped this.
What are these? Oh, everyone should help pick me up. Like,
Patrick, you lost video. I think your cam is disconnected.
I'm working on fixing it.
But like. That's like, I remember Crown Vic, and I was getting makeup done. I was playing an LAPD Los Angeles police officer, and they wanted to cover up my tattoo on my arm, which is like up here. And it's really not that big a deal. Like, cops can have tattoos, and it was like going to show maybe this much, but they had me go to makeup. They had to cover up the whole thing, and I remember sitting there, and then Thomas Jane walks in.
Be careful how much arm you show. We're going to have to rate this podcast R in a minute if you show too much.
I can show you all sorts of things, man. How did I pay? That's how I paid for college.
This isn't OnlyFans, Will. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, please. It's just me crying, eating pizza. That's my OnlyFans account.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm like, everything's bad in the world's happened to me. Is that cheesy bread?
Oh my God.
But no, Thomas Jane, he's so intense. He was like so intense, and he never wears shoes, which is like, actually, I kind of like that. I don't like to wear shoes either.
Is this?
But
who is this you're talking
Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane.
Okay.
So he played the Punisher. He would played Mickey Mantle in 61. I mean,
Right.
he's in a shit ton of movies.
Yeah.
But that's like, I was like sitting next to him, and I'm like, because they tell you don't talk to him, don't, unless they talk to you, and I'm just like, hey, I got a screenplay for you.
Did you have it? Did you have it there to like?
No, I didn't. No.
He just slid the USB drive into his breast pocket.
Yeah. Oh, Thomas, can you pick up that USB drive that might have my screenplay on it and plug it into
plug it into your computer, download it, and email it to Steven Spielberg.
download it, and then give me notes. And like, yeah.
I had to smuggle this in. I want you to take it and let me know what you think.
So I'll link to this too. Just this is kind of a weird offshoot. But when you said that he was intense, it reminded me of something that I watched the other day. That's super weird that I watched it, but I sat there for a good amount of time watching it, and it's on YouTube. And what it is it's video. It's about 2 hours long. And you've seen ASMR, right? Like videos, or at least heard of ASMR,
like
different
people
things.
eating pickles and shit.
Yeah, whatever
And
the thing is.
Whatever your thing is.
But what it was it's this rainy cafe. It's video, and it changes. Like, sometimes it's an exterior shot, sometimes it's an interior shot, sometimes it's a close up of a coffee on the table there. But it's Matthew McConaughey for 2 hours.
Fantastic.
he's narrating it, and it's his thoughts as he's looking out into the rain.
Oh my God, I need to find this. What is it
Sipping
called?
coffee.
I kind of gotta watch this now.
It's 2 hours long.
You're talking to the wrong two people, Patrick.
It's
Me
this
and
slow,
Will both watch this.
slow, like intense.
Dude.
I want to get to.
They have those.
I want to get to the level of fame,
Okay.
where I can just put out a 2 hour YouTube of me, me just sitting there, and he's just so
And I
intense.
sit in there.
It's entertaining.
And I see the coffee.
Yeah, that's pretty much
I see
the
the condensation running down the coffee. And look, it's raining outside.
Yeah.
And there's a bull in the road. And now it's
1 hour. Yeah, I found it. Watch it. 1 hour of Matthew McConaughey watching rain and drinking coffee.
It's brilliant. And I was wondering while I was watching it, is this something that someone else put together?
5 years ago. This wasn't even a Corona thing that he.
Or was it like him? Was it him being like, I wonder if I can be entertaining for 2 hours doing nothing but sitting there and sipping coffee? Like if it was an exercise in,
That's fair.
like his acting ability,
Maybe he was testing his voice, because I know that he reads audiobooks too.
Right.
So he was probably testing his voice.
I'd listen to Morgan Freeman for like literally narrate my life. Honestly, like you can just.
I need a Samuel L. Jackson. Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Well, Samuel would be on the weekends. That's where the motherfuckers come in. But Morgan Freeman, like he's like, yeah, this is chill.
Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think the next thing that you do, Will, is should be something along those lines. Maybe you could be watching like I don't know, a bullfight, right? Or you could be
so
oh, you like the beach? You said you like the beach, right? So you could be sitting on the beach, right? Sipping on a what is the drink you're drinking there? A Slurpee?
It's a slush puppy.
A slush puppy. So drinking a slush puppy, staring at the waves.
Sounds actually good.
As the sun goes down, and just be commenting on it the entire time and see if you can keep it entertaining.
I see a bird. Oh, he's attacking that child. The parents aren't doing anything as the bird attacks. He's picked the baby up now. The bird is flying with the child.
And what's
parents?
What's even more interesting about the Matthew McConaughey thing too is he isn't actually saying the things. It's like his thoughts. So he's narrating.
It's like his his inner monologue.
It's just him, like
I would love to do that because you just like it's on you and you just see him. He's like, like you know what I mean? He's like as he's thinking it, he's like.
And it was
Did I leave the stove on?
It was pretty well done too. Like all the cinematography was actually on point. I was like, oh, it's just impressive that he kept me engaged for that long for just sitting there.
Right. It's like how long can I do? Like maybe it was like for a bet or something. It's like how long is anybody gonna watch this for 2 hours? If I get somebody to watch this for 2
Oh,
hours.
another interesting thing, if you have not heard of him, for our listeners. Oh, by the way, so we've been getting a lot of messages via Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And if you want to send
Nice.
us questions and things like that, or you want to know something about something we talked about on the show or what have you, you can send an email to infiltrateradiopodcast@gmail.com. I know most people kind of interact with us via the social media stuff, but you can send us an email too, and we'll respond, and we might even start a section where we read off some questions and answers or whatever from that email address. So email us, send us some stuff, and we'll try and respond. But so Joe Pera, do you know who Joe Pera is? So
I don't believe so.
he's a comedian. Very similar way I ran across him. There's and Biz, you should definitely bookmark this if you're googling YouTube videos. There, Joe Pera talks you to sleep. So I think he does like a 4-hour
No joke.
video.
No joke. There's a podcast. It's like Sleep With Me or something. I've literally listened to this podcast for that same reason sometimes. And it's just like a very monotone, and he's just talking kind of bullshit, just some random stuff. Like he saw an episode of something, and he's talking about it.
Yeah.
Or he's talking about, maybe it's the same guy.
It might be.
know.
Yeah, he's a stand-up comedian, but like super just dry. But he plays like this Midwest guy, like just the most boring. Like he had a TV show, I forget, it might have been Comedy Central or something, where he goes to like pancake dinners, like the local fire department's pancake.
No, I get it. Oh, I've been to some of those.
It's so brilliant. I'm like, I can't, like it's so entertaining, but if it was done, like, he's coming from a place of comedy, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's brilliant
Yeah.
in its absurdity, and so Joe Pera, just Google him and anything pretty much about
Yeah,
him.
He sounds super familiar. I think I have heard of him himself, but I have not heard or seen this thing that you're talking about.
But anyway, I got off on a tangent there. So what? So
No, that's totally fine.
what? I know that Biz mentioned before too that we're gonna pimp out your is it your website or your Facebook? And why don't we let you do that? So what's your, if people wanted to follow?
Oh, I mean, okay, so I am on IMDb. It's under Will Nemi. I mean, it's pretty basic. The same thing for Facebook. I have a personal account, then I have like an actor page. Both of them are Will Nemi. And my they're definitely different pages, if I could say. Just content wise, but and then my Instagram is the official Will Nemi, and I use it a lot of social media. Actually, I was off social media for a few months, just because of this whole thing, and I was doing my thing, and but I never taken social media too seriously, like, ever. And people in this day and age, they're so offended and they're so opinionated, which is totally fine to have opinion, but it's the amount of respect of if they have a different opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try and fight you on Facebook, but people are like, it's like you can't post anything anymore. And that's my whole thing. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I just post things that I think are funny. And like, but we're in like this culture now. It's like, if you saw something you didn't agree with it, then whatever, move on, don't look at it. But now it's like people like, I have to say something. I must stand up to this bullshit. And it's like, dude, all I said is like, I like oranges. And he's like, what about the apples? And it's like, dude.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of. I also think it's getting worse with everyone being locked in their houses because their reality is becoming. It's becoming the social media platforms that they're on, and the interaction that they have with people is becoming that. And that's not a healthy place for the majority of your relationships to be, your communication to be happening.
And like you said, it's definitely being overutilized now because people are, what else are they doing? And you're going, and like, yeah, I get it, but like, dude, that was like the healthiest decision I ever made, just getting off of it and just stepping away, honestly, because it's toxic. It can be toxic. It's I don't want people arguing, and I don't want to see people like. It's just intense. Like, it's like, dude, and and you see people just shit posting, and it's
the
like
same recycled posts over and over again, the same
Yeah.
recycled comedy, the same recycled debates, the same recycled everything.
I post a meme and then everybody just posts it as their own.
Stop.
What's interesting though is that as an entertainer or whatever too, you kind of have to be a part of it, even if you don't want to be.
You do.
It's like in order to reach eyeballs and people, you kind of have to. You have
Stop,
to
guys! I'm living proof that you don't have to do that.
I don't know. It's the take.
Well, I don't know. Your career says something
now.
different, Biz. So.
Does it?
No, it's fair. Like, they've spent so much. They spend so much money on promotion on like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that shit. And like, it's how people are being reached now. So you kind of, double-edged sword. It's like, if it can be unhealthy, but at the same time, it's necessary. It was nice because of COVID, not a lot of shit was going on, but like, I understand, like, when you're in it, like directors and producers, they want you promoting, they want you sharing posts, they want you pushing it, and and they
that's something now too, that's a big difference. I think there's an expectation from there's an expectation on not only the corporate side or the backing side of some projects, but as a business, right, you need to be personally kind of engaging with your fans or customers or whatever, but then also on the customer or fan side of it too, there's an expectation on that side that you should be engaging in this personal way with them that never kind of existed really in the past. I mean, they had an idea, let's say you did an interview with E Hollywood or whatever, right? And you did an interview with one individual person, and then people kind of got an idea of what you were about from the questions that were asked, let's say, or some stories that may have come out about you. But now there's almost like an expectation that if you're not individually engaging with every single person, that something's a problem.
I think that,
but realistically, it's still the same level. If you hit up Will Smith right now on Instagram, is he going to hit you back?
Well, here's the thing.
What about someone not as famous? You know what I mean? Like, when you're actually in that level of,
like, Taylor Swift kind of set this precedent back in the day, right? And I'm going to talk shit about her today because tomorrow, yes I am. And the reason I'm going to do that is because tomorrow the Grammy nominations come out, and she's competing.
She just won like 3 awards, didn't she? Like yesterday.
Patrick hates everyone that we love and everything that we love.
Listen, she's competing against me in the best alternative album this year. So I don't like her today. Tomorrow I may feel different.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes. So, but she started this back in the day by she would show up at people's houses, right, and do that sort of thing. And I think it became, not her in particular, she was part of that movement to do that, right, personally engaged. But there was this use of social media to say, like, oh, look how great of a person, let's say, Taylor Swift is by showing up at this fan's house. And there was like these like prom, the prom.
I get it.
Hey, can Chris Pratt come out and be my prom date or whatever for the prom? And then he shows up and all this. So there's like this expectation now that sort of stuff happens that I don't think happened back in the day. So, and I don't know if it's good or bad, because it kind of makes I don't know. Like, social media in general, it's like it increased that accessibility, but the thing is, everything's perception. Even on the news, it's just perception. It doesn't have to be reality. You say something and it is, and people don't fact check and stuff. And in the same way as like people have managers and stuff, and it's like, okay, you're going to someone's house. It's about freaking promotion, and it's about selling stuff, And I'm sure she's like a good person. Like I'm positive. But all these people, it's like, there could be good behind it, but they push.
Yeah, Zach,
Really?
we've heard differently.
Really?
Are you speaking objectively, or are you speaking like for real? Because I'm pretty sure that everyone is in agreement that Taylor Swift isn't a very nice human.
Yeah, I've
Are you
heard,
serious?
yeah, like she's definitely got this persona, but who knows? I don't know her, so maybe she is.
I'll say, but that is just technically the lens that the media puts on her. Knowing her personally would be night and day different.
That's what I'm saying.
Imagine the fact that like I knew you online, prior
Yeah.
to knowing you in real life. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
when I met you, how many times did I tell you, dude, I can't believe you're so funny without being like how you are online. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can definitely sculpt that people's opinion of what you are, if
Oh
they don't
yeah.
know you personally, right? So,
And that's what
I
people have those personas online and shit. But I don't
so
know. I
I'm gonna
like
bring up.
Taylor. She came to my bar mitzvah, so like
That's fine.
so
I don't.
she's in
I don't.
my good gracious.
I actually don't really dislike her that much, but
No, I'm just
it's just because
yeah.
we're competing that I'm giving her shit here on the show.
Well, I hope.
but
I
like,
mean,
so
she wins as she's frozen.
yeah, he
She's
must have been frozen because
Yeah.
you said something. Oh, there it goes.
it definitely cut out. So everything up until I said, or after I said Taylor Swift isn't that bad, I missed.
Right. But it was I just think it's like social media, you know, it was good to take a break and just at least when you know you're not going to be promoting much shit at the time and like everything's on hold anyways. And it was cool. We started writing more and like editing stuff I already wrote and like I started getting into my music stuff because I write a lot of songs but never had to, get a chance to record them because I can write and I can sing, but like I don't know how to play instruments. I've dabbled with like a piano and drums like when I was younger. It just my dad, I mean, I was sports. Like I was always
Was it base? You said
know,
baseball? Was your
baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, snowboarding, which I love snowboarding, and bowling. Yeah, like it's like I was literally just pushing.
That seems like
everything.
wait, Will. That seems like a sore subject for you. You gave a weird reaction when you said bowling, and then earlier when you went to the bowling alley. Did you have a moment where you were in the championships, and you were supposed to win for the team, and you were the one that like accidentally?
There was definitely
You only knocked down 9 pins instead of 10. You piece of garbage.
You garbage! You lost it for us.
You only
lost it for yourself.
You only bowled a 297. You piece of shit.
Definitely that moment. It's like I don't want your life, Dad. Or like in every movie ever, it's like.
Was that
That's
was
why
that
he loves
something?
this.
You lost it for yourself.
Oh, hey, speaking of movies, being that you're an actor, has there ever been those sports movies that like Will Ferrell does that are like dodgeball and all that stuff?
Semi-pro.
Talladega Nights.
Was
Talladega
there
Nights, semi-pro, Blades of Glory. I mean, just name a few.
was there a bowling one?
Yo, yeah. Is it Kingpin with Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was a
I would say
movie.
the Big Lebowski is a bowling movie.
Oh, and the Big Lebowski. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shut
but
up, Donnie.
That's a different one though. That wasn't like a professional team. Like I'm thinking about like the professional team goes to the finals.
Wait a minute, I think there is.
Alley Cat Strike. That was a Disney movie.
Oh my god.
It was good. It was good.
Two high school, rival teams
Rivals,
go at each other.
and he's a bowler, and he's
Right.
like the jock. But yeah, it's the whole thing.
Someone's got to make that. One of you guys, Biz, write that down, Biz.
Write
Bowling.
that down, Biz.
I
Bowling.
literally will not. Do you know how many times people
You
tell
know
me
what'd
to
be
write something down?
awesome?
This is why I say I'm not a writer because
We should
everyone
do
tells
like
me
a
to.
bowling. I had the idea, like
Already
they do
know. Absolutely not.
This is a great idea. I love every part of this.
You two need to
Behind
collaborate then.
You see, like they do those sports like 30 for 30s, and like you see, like it's about obviously it's like Michael Jordan's team, and they do them behind the like interviews and shit. And I would love to see that, like that built around, and then it was like a beer league softball team, something like that, or like a beer league bowling team. I say beer league just because it's general, but like, yeah, like they're really serious about it, and they have like wristbands, and I could have went pro, but I tore my rotator cuff and like dumb shit like that, and
Popeye-sized forearms.
Yeah, and it just seems
massive.
like it's going to be like this, like, holy shit, this is the 94 Bills. And then it's like,
I feel like this is an appropriate time. This is an appropriate time to bring up extreme ironing. Have you guys ever heard of extreme ironing?
No.
I haven't heard of regular ironing. I see it.
So ESPN back, like, this was probably literally like 15 years ago. I think I was still in high
On the
school when I saw
Ocho.
this. And people do like extreme sports, but they iron while they do it. So the segment I saw, there was a guy rock climbing. He was like however many 1,000 feet up in the air, repelled to a thing, and then he literally whipped out an ironing board the size of like his torso and started ironing shit mad fast, holding it. Like I was like, what the fuck is this? Like
this is the shit they show at like 3 a.m. on ESPN 8, like the show.
It was exactly that. But
it's like, oh,
nevertheless,
dude, this is cool. He's golfing, and then out of nowhere, he's like,
he's iron. He's like, oh, I didn't put
irons.
Was the steam setting on?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that cameras were sophisticated enough to pick that up 15 years ago.
Also, how is he powering it?
It was like, I don't know, dude. Like, literally look it up because it's a thing. You don't even have to ask me.
Now I have to Google this?
Of course.
You imagine, like,
you know how many Google searches I do per episode? I think you could Google one thing, Patrick.
You like you're going down a slope like a snowboard.
Oh, like slaloming? You're slaloming?
And backflip, and then you're just kind of ironing while you're doing a backflip in the air.
I'm telling you, they do crazy things. They do
getting
crazy
a nice crease in your khakis while you're...
Yeah. He's like, well, the pleat's got to be on point.
Are they giving points for like how well the ironing happens?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. How did that work?
Guys,
I'm actually interested in this. Like, I'm
15
like,
years ago, I saw this. Okay, like,
does it have to be done properly, or is it just like as long as you're technically ironing, it's counted?
So when I tell you,
as long as you're still ironing.
So guys, when I tell you that I saw it 15 years ago on TV in passing, and neither of you knew about it, and I'm sharing it with you now. I am not an expert on the subject. I didn't mean to mislead you.
I really thought this was like your second passion.
Yeah, like your thing.
It's not.
And you've been waiting. No. You've been waiting to like say this. It's when it's like episode 40, and every episode is like, maybe I'm gonna bring it up this one. Maybe I'm gonna bring it up this one. He's like, finally at the end. He's like, so the iron.
And anyway, look up Biz LeChance / Extreme Ironing on YouTube.
Extreme Ironing.
EA Sports. It's in
right.
You know. Oh, I just
sponsored.
I forgot it before, but I remember like another awkward moment and shit on set. It was when we were on set doing that music video, and it was supposed to be like,
oh my god,
like a theme park, and it was like a sunny day, and it was pouring like the freaking. I mean, it looked like it was like a hurricane. It was like supposed to be like we're supposed to be riding rides and like playing shit, and it's just downpouring like hard.
It was awful.
Oh my god. It's like, okay,
and the rides were. It looked like it was meant to be like a horror short, and it was.
100%. Like I'm like, at what point are we? Yeah, are we gonna get murdered here?
It was rickety.
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, dude, do you remember I was like, I don't want to ride. That ride that was like, it brought you just through like a pitch black barn or whatever, and then brought you out.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be like that horror thing, and it just, oh, dude, yeah. I think we wrote it. It was awful. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I did. So there's one more story I'll tell about a film set I was on. I was brought in as the car accident victim. Actually, Aaron,
you want to play another car accident victim?
So
I got a role for you.
I'm very good at it. I have pictures of me with like a bloody head and all that stuff. So it was for Aaron, who owns Optic Sky Studios here. So it was when he was still a student at RIT, who actually, he was part of the film with the horror movie thing, the girl in the white dress, and he was part of that too. I think he was the producer or the director of that. I forget what.
Wait, what is that called? What was that?
It was just some short like student film thing. I used to go and do student films all the time just so I could get experience on like
RIT is fantastic. I've done a few of them there. Me and Biz did one. Like it's such good quality because they have all the
the equipment and all that stuff.
We never did one together. We just happened to be in one. Two of them actually that I noticed.
I'll give that as advice too to anyone trying to look to become an actor or part of a film set that maybe doesn't have the money to go to film school and do all this stuff. They're always looking for actors at colleges that have film programs, and something like RIT where they have a lot of professional stuff. You get a lot of experience on a real set. And the students are kind of new, and sometimes, I mean, some of them are crap. Some of them are actually run like real.
I was making that noise to the experience that part.
Because Buff State too. Buffalo State's another one in New York. You know that they do like a film class and do the whole thing, and like dude, one of the best things I think, like quality wise, that was one of those movies. I'm like, damn, like they really
Aaron, well, Aaron ended up now he owns his own production studio, and he does stuff for like car companies, and like he does super high.
What's his last name?
Aaron Gordon.
Gordon. Oh,
Yeah.
I knew an Aaron too, Aaron Gaddy, and he shoots all sorts of shit.
Dude, you ever heard of Optic Sky before?
I honestly thought it was like a lens sunglasses place.
No, dude, Optic Sky did all. You know those Wegmans?
He did a bunch of Wegmans stuff too.
Oh, that's cool. I love Weggies too.
I was an extra in a Wegmans video recently, 2 years ago maybe.
Were you?
With
recently.
him.
Recently,
A few years ago. I don't know, dude. My life has been very long, busy.
It was 1974.
So, but this is the story. So,
the year my mom was born.
Oh, yeah.
I was a car accident victim, and part of this was they needed to cut. Basically, they got the fire department to get the jaws of life. Right,
Yeah.
these big, like they look like gigantic mechanical scissors, to be able to basically cut open a fucking car.
Oh damn!
This isn't like a weird moment, but it was a super cool thing to be a part of. So he had gotten access to a crane, so he could do like overhead shots. And I was supposed to be the victim inside of the car. So I was inside the car while the fire department, because he had got the fire department to agree to this, an old abandoned car, whatever they set up there, they had set it on fire, or at least dressed it to make it look like it had been on fire. And I got to sit in it while they were like cutting open like the car, the whole top of the car they basically took off. Dude, it was crazy. It was crazy to like be in that. And then of course at one point they were like, you should probably get out of the car and we'll cheat it.
Yeah,
so that it looks like you're in there, and we'll finish just cutting the fuck up out of this car.
Patrick's gonna be 80 years old one day. Like, I was in a horrific car accident. They're like, shut up, Grandpa. No, you weren't. We're tired of hearing this story.
The guy, right? He's like, well, it was pretending to be.
Yeah. It was actually pretty fun because I just had blood run. Like you get to play like you've just been in a horrific accident. The fire department is acting. Because they've been in those situations, so it's not like it's hard for them to be like, are you okay while they're filming this whole scenario. But that was super cool, and that was a student film. He had gotten like just super like he's just good at being resourceful. I don't think there was any money behind that. He got the fire department to agree to it. I think it was practice for the fire department too to be able to do that. Gotten some sort of crane. I don't know if it was the fire department's, but the quality of the stuff that he was able to pull off with zero budget was ridiculous.
Some of the RIT students do actually swing a budget. It's just out of their own pocket that they budget it.
The one film we did, they drove to New Jersey to like Canon or Kodak and literally picked up like a $50,000 camera and shit. Like I remember being on set, and they're like, "Hold this lens for me," and I was sitting there. And then they're like, that's $30,000. I was like, take this from me.
Are you talking?
I do not want to be holding this shit. I am not responsible. Please take this.
That particular film that you mentioned is actually interesting because it was shot on, I think, an ARRI and on a Panavision. So it was
The
shot
old
digitally.
one too, right?
Yeah, the Panavision one was the old one. Yeah. So it
Really
was shot.
cool.
It was shot on traditional film, like strips, and it was shot digitally on an ARRI. And I'm pretty sure that both the cameras were super expensive.
I mean, might as well give a little background. What we're talking about, it was like called The Legend of Tom Kodak. And like, George Eastman, who started Kodak, that's a real thing. But this was kind of like a fiction based off, reality, as he had a cousin named Tom Kodak, who actually is the one building the cameras. And then Eastman was the side that sold everything. And Tom was in a wheelchair, so like no one knew about him, and it was kind of that idea of like him creating the camera, and like so it was an olden times thing, and it was really cool that they used those two cameras.
Yeah, very disrespectful to the Eastman legacy, but great film. It came out very good.
Oh, totally. He's a terrible person in this movie. He's Thanos in this.
Like it is a good like storyline. You know what I mean?
It is, but
they
then
did have to cut
dark.
it down. They had to cut it down a lot, but the actual because it's written by an RIT professor originally.
Oh yeah, the professor from RIT.
And then they
it.
adapted it into a screenplay that they made. But yeah, it was a good one.
All right. Well, we're coming up here on about an hour and a half, give or take. So, anything else you want to? Anything else you wanna pimp? You wanna
Yeah.
contact information out there one more time?
My OnlyFans. But
It's Will / extreme ironing.
extreme ironing. I
In the-
literally, and it's like ADMR. It's like me
In the
ironing,
news,
eating
yeah.
like a pickle, in iron,
Right. Yeah,
just
yeah.
crunching,
No, I'm
Filthy,
sorry. So
filthy.
go ahead and give your contact information.
just slurping, and you're just like,
Stop.
sorry. No, it's funny because you're like saying about budgets and stuff, and like I talked about all these projects that actually kind of have budgets and stuff, but for me, you always wish you had money because like I would love to make my own content. You know what I mean? I do a lot of writing, a lot of sketches, short stories, written like a screenplay, and like if I had the money, it makes
Is this
things
gonna
so
turn
much
into a
easier.
GoFundMe pitch?
Maybe. Yeah.
My Venmo is
Right. My Cash App, just if anyone wants to shoot me. Also, I have feet pics if you're into it.
Stop.
But for real, like me and Biz, like we were writing something, it's based on something else, but like stuff we can do with low budget but still be funny. We just literally wrote this little thing. It's his idea. Like he does the idea, and then I can just throw the pizzazz on it like that. Like sparkles,
Yeah.
you know. But it's funny. It's about two guys, and they're gonna go rob a fucking a pizza joint just for the fact that because dude that works there screwed the one guy over, and it's basically them, going through this, and like they keep getting distracted by this and that, until they to the point where like when are they ever going to do it? It's like hours
Like
pass,
the
and it's
age-old
like,
sketch, yeah. Like
yeah, just over and over again. They keep having to leave and come back, so it's really funny, like those. But like if I had money, not just me, but me and Biz were talking about this the other day. Like if I had money to give, I would give people. There's so many talented people in the community that has like great ideas, but they don't have the budget to actually see things through, to actually have them realize these stories. And even like with Rick and shit from Turn Up the Night, like I would throw so much money at that project if I could, and I would just give people that opportunity. I just, because people need it. It's just everybody was looking for that opportunity, and I think a lot of stuff doesn't get made that is better than a lot of shit that does get made. I mean, you've seen some of those things, and it's like the quality is great of like the sound and the picture, but it's just a fucking awful story. Like you don't want to watch it. But how did that get made? And then you look at something else and like, well, that was way better, So there's things like that. Like, I have like we wrote a story, me and Melody Rorick, we wrote a screenplay, and like it's an awesome story, and Biz has read it, and it's funny, and
it was fantastic.
And like, yeah, and she's a fantastic writer, and I just pretend. It just sucks because like you want to do it right, and you can't like do it half-ass, because you won't get a chance again. You can't like try and make it, and it doesn't come out the right way, and then you try and do it again,
Right.
And it's like those projects that you wish you could do. Same thing, My Parents Aren't Home sketch, like me and Biz were talking about. It's like this guy, he gets a call from his girlfriend, and he's like, busy, and she's like, well, my parents aren't home. And then it's like this epic journey of
Oh my God. It's funny you brought this up. I almost mentioned this earlier when you brought up about the puppy. I was like, well, technically, in the beginning of this one sketch,
oh my God, I throw a puppy into the garbage. Like I'm walking a neighbor's dog, and she's like, it's like, I can't, I'm house sitting and shit. She's like, my parents aren't home. He's like, I'm on my way. And then he like throws the dog into a dumpster and like takes off. And the same thing, like with the car accident scene, there's like literally a scene when he's on a Vespa with some random bad guy's back on the back of his Vespa.
Stop. Just stop.
And he's driving, and then they crash, and he like dies in his arms and shit. But a lot of it's to it's a Kelly Clarkson song. It was like,
Moment Like
I've
This,
waited a moment like this, and he's like trying to just get to his girlfriend's house because his parents aren't home. And like just those things. Like I wish we could make those and like just have the budget to do the things we want to do.
All right, so here's
And not, yeah.
here's the deal. So I'm gonna cut you off a little bit because there is a project also that I'm working on that I need some voice actors for. So I heard you say some voiceover stuff. Myself
Yeah, I've done a few.
and an individual, Casey Balker, are working on like an audio series, a kind of a dark carnival story. We're doing the pilot. We're almost done with the script for it. So we'll have the kind of pilot script soon, and then maybe I'll get Biz involved too. There's a few parts.
You
in
had
there.
asked me to find you voice actors, and I was waiting for you to tell me that you had a script because most of the
So we're
people
coming
that I know are ready for it.
Yeah,
I do all sorts of voices, and I've seen carnivals.
Yeah, so it should be fun.
Well, I went home.
But we'll maybe interact with regards to that once I get the script actually.
Yeah, for sure.
We have the story. It's just a matter of having the actual dialogue written for it.
I get it, and it's so like you get restless, honestly, through the COVID. You know, like I just want to work. I want to act. I want to do it. You know, it's just the craft. Like anything, you just want to keep doing it because fuck, that's what we do, and get rusty and shit like that. And you're like, I just want to be back on set, you know, and
yeah, I think all creatives have something going on, like you were talking about earlier with the your diagnosis of being fucked up. I think that's
a medical term.
Yeah, 98% of the creative population has that same diagnosis. Will so, but I want to say I appreciate you coming on. Give me one more time,
sure,
like the
dude.
Instagram, the Facebook, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can check me out, the official Will Nemi on Instagram, IMDb. I'm just listed under Will Nemi. The same with my acting and personal page on Facebook. I don't do Snapchat or Twitter, any of that shit. It's really just, you know, I post, you know, just fun stuff and memes and stuff, but I also post like if I'm doing things like working on music. You might get a song, or like one of the projects I'm working on, you get some behind the scenes stuff. So, you know, follow me. Yeah, it's fun, and I appreciate you having me on. Like, this has been great, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was fun talking to you, man. So what we'll do too is we'll post all the links to, again, anything we post or we talk about on the show generally, for the most part, as long as I've written it down. We link to it, and if you buy any of that stuff, it's all through Amazon, so you're not giving us your credit card number. It's through Amazon, but we get a portion of the proceeds that
that's sick.
From that sale. And then in addition, we'll post links to all your projects and all your Facebook and all that sort of thing. And we are in the week here before Thanksgiving, so this will go out by the end of hopefully tonight if I'm not insanely busy.
Yeah, dude.
But I will try and get it out by the end of tonight, at least the audio portion. And then next week we will see you guys and talk to you guys again. Will, again, thank you for coming on.
Of course, man. It was a pleasure, dude. It was great.
Yeah, and I'm Patrick Joanne.
I'm Biz LaChance.
And thanks for listening to Infiltrate Radio. Talk to you assholes next week.
Infiltrate Radio.